It's my... And actors Imogen Waterhouse, Aubri, Ibrag, and Josie, Totah. And of course, you've won multiple BAFTAs for the absolutely brilliant Bleak House, particularly I think at the end of the season. But even in the beginning, when this secret is revealed, what did you and Christine talk about, or how did you create this shared sisterhood? How did you imagine your histories together?
Well, I think before we started, we would speak quite a lot, and we'd imagine what the childhood was like, and where they'd go and play, and like their relationship with their parents. And I think that helped us have an idea of like what the bond was growing up as children, and also what a role model Ginny might have been for Nan, even though she eventually then is her own role model completely. So I think when the secret is revealed, it just hurt. It's like, apart from obviously what the secret is, it's like hurts her so much that Ginny out of all her family would have kept this from her. And I think, yeah, it was just a lot of chat together, really.
Obviously, Aubri and Josie, you play sisters. Was it the same for you? Did you? How did you?
Yeah, so I actually just remembered something. We went
On a walk
to get pizza. And we voice recorded. I was literally listening to that voice recording the other day. Anyway, going through my voice recording.
Yeah.
And so I found this like little mini podcast almost we made about the childhood we had with our family and like, what could have happened.
We just we both like to talk, and we talked a lot. And I mean, we also just we had a lot of fun, and I think we had a month before we started shooting to do sort of the rehearsals and movement that Susanna was speaking about. So I think that month was where we built that chemistry.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, to talk about your relationship with your husband, and this is such a fun, beautiful, grand production, but at the heart of it, as well as the sisterhood and the friendship, there are really deep sort of emotional issues. And I was so struck by the fact that Ginny is apologizing and she's, going through this domestic abuse. Can you talk to us about how you prepared for that element of this role?
Yeah, well, I think I had to put myself in Ginny's shoes of the expectation throughout from a young girl has been you have to marry, and with that it became her main goal. Became obsessed with it, so much so that she does a few kind of bad things to her friends on the way. But it's you needed to understand what she was fighting for and what she was willing to kind of put up with in this idea of love and what it was. And I think she really thought she really does love him and feels like he is this fairy tale and this is it. She's done it, and she's so desperate to hold on to that love that also maybe she wasn't really given as much growing up by her parents. I think that's where it's it's easy to watch and be like, why doesn't she just walk away? But especially in these times, in the Victorian times, it's that wasn't, you were kind of stuck with them. And I think he's so good at bringing her in a little bit and then pushing her away and bringing her in that she just holds on to these little moments where he does make her feel seen and special and all the things that she's really wanted to be. That's why she does stay with him and puts up with it, and it's just kind of heartbreaking because she will do anything to please him, really.
I think that's what's so interesting about your performance is that it's we can see your internal dialogue. It's clear that you're blinded by love. And he really does do such terrible things to, shame both of you. And so I'm just wondering, did you have all of the pages in advance? How did you track that?
We didn't have all the scripts, but we had a meeting before where we were told about our arc and where it was going. So I kind of knew where it ended up. But I think I just really had to throw myself in to just being so under his spell that nothing else really mattered until, and even at the end, I mean, she leaves, but only because, you know, she's pregnant. But I think even then she finds it really hard, and I think it's not like it's all over then. She still has this like deep connection to wanting to please him and be there for him and be the wife that she's supposed to be. So
should we just give a shout out to Barney Fishwick as
Yes.
well, who, you know, he'd come out of stand-up comedy.
That sort of applies to her and the way she's feeling, and it feels like everything's hidden behind this acerbic wit. You have such great dialogue. So what did you bring? What do you feel like was it magic? What were you drawing upon when you portray these struggles we see with Mabel?
I think, well, you know, it's not said because there's not the terminology for it, but she's obviously, you know, a queer kind of person. She like has an affinity for women and loves women, and like that's not allowed during that time. And I think like initially that just, it seems so grand to even process like what it would be like to be in the 1800s and being lesbian, and like that just seemed too far away. So I was like, let me just flash back to 2006 of like being a queer kid in California, and like even how hard that was for me, and like, you know, relating to that experience, and of just feeling so young and like raw and like misunderstood, and just like you know, you don't have the words for those feelings when you're such a young person, but you know that somehow internally you're considered wrong, or they're wrong, you know? And so I think like through our little seed of Mabel throughout the seasons, that you see her kind of realizing that like, maybe it feels wrong, but that's because society's wrong and I'm wrong, you know?
I love that we see that whole journey in this season, from, you know, the proposal to the like calling off, you know, it's like, yeah. I have to give you props, Lizzie, for Aubri, for episode 6, like literally the one tear rolling down the cheek. I mean, that's the apex of achievement for crying on screen.
Thank you. That means a lot. Yeah, I think like for us, we were just. I remember listening to a lot of sad music. We were just a little bit sad.
Scottish winter.
And sometimes in a scene, like your scene partner will give you something that just like touches a little heartstring, and you're like, oh my god, what's happening? So yeah, it was very easy working.
Yeah, I think you are just like, if you're in it, you're like feeling what they are feeling. It is quite sad. It's not, I don't know. You guys, I feel like are better like on TV.
Oh,
I have to like master it.
oh, sick. We have to put ourselves into some deep, dark holes.
Go off into a corner.
Yeah.
Does everybody know that? Are we allowed to share that?
Yeah, we're very, very grateful to Apple for giving us a season 2.
Thank you so much. Thank you.